I'm Daniel Stefanovski. I have been doing community theatre in Illawarra since I was about 14. Started off as an actor and then slowly progressed into directing, as well as being on the committee of a few local companies over the years. And man, I was a big movie buff. And I still am. Constantly watching movies, TV series, stuff like that. I reckon it was Jim Carrey in the 90s. I really liked his work, his stand-up work, his impersonations. And then when he got into movies and stuff like that, really liked his comedic timing. And that's what really drew me into wanting to give it a go myself. So when I was just performing, I used to sit back and I'd watch how the directors are doing stuff, and I'd sort of sat back and I was just like, oh, I do things differently, and oh, that's not how I do that. I do something different there, or the staging isn't what I would have done. And then I was just like, hey, why don't I give this a go myself? So that's how I got into directing. I as much as I enjoy being one character, as a director, you're in charge of all the characters and every part of the show, basically. So from 6 months before a production starts, I'm basically planning out everything that goes into that production. So it's not just the, actually sometimes it's even longer. Like A Few Good Men, for instance, it was a passion project for me. I tried to put it on 5 years earlier, and I just I couldn't get it on at that time. There was just too much on, and it was going to cost too much at that point in time. So there was a lot of pre-planning into that with set design, the way I saw the show conceptualized from the beginning to being on stage. And then you really have to, it's a lot of planning. So like I said, that had a lot of pre-planning from years back. And then when I got the show, I knew a year in advance from when we were on stage. So right away, I started with changing my set design to fit the theatre space at Workshop Theatre, as well as working out where we could get costumes. And even along the way, like my set design ended up changing with practicality of once we got into the space and started building, that sort of changed. Visions that I had for characters also changed during the audition process. When people come in and they just blow your mind away and you see them do a character in a certain way, you sometimes just get lost in their interpretation of that character, and you're like, oh, that's brilliant. I never saw it that way, but I want to do it that way. And you just work with your limitations, but also like those limitations can grow as well from what you get given from actors and support. That's me as well. I come up with the a lot of people have like they might have a producer who will do that for them. I'm very hands-on. Like I have my vision, and the poster I conceptualize. I've done producing before for other shows, but all my productions, the poster is usually a brainchild of myself as well, which is, it's a very plain and simple one. For A Few Good Men, obviously it's the American flag, but like slightly torn down and askewed, basically, which is a lot of what the themes of the production are. And that's how I sort of base my posters. I try to find like unless it's like a famous show like Wizard of Oz, where you have to obviously have like either the shoes or like the Yellow Brick Road, like I do sort of with a drama, kind of take a concept from a production and sort of base the poster around that. And it just has to be something that will sell, and it depends for each production. Obviously, A Few Good Men, it's the name. You don't have to do much with that to sell, because a lot of people would know the movie, Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson. Like it's not your small movie sort of thing. But yeah, with shows that are like not a name show, or you might not have heard of, you do need to find something, either an image or a concept that's really going to sell the show. I'm not big on using cast in the picture, mostly because in a local community setting, like, it might not appeal to everyone. There's no one really famous. You're not selling the show on one person's marketability, because it might not work out. Like, they might not be marketable. I think I don't know if you watched it this year, but Don't Look Up. I know it was a bit hammered by the critics, but I thought it was brilliant in the way that it satirized like a climate change issue, but they made it about a comet heading towards Earth, and they really hammered in with how the political climate is, of half the people not believing them until they see it, and then the other half of the people still, like, even though it's like, it can't possibly be the end of the world sort of thing. And that's really how it is at the moment. Like, there's so many people screaming about it, but the news doesn't make it a serious issue. So half the people don't believe it's a serious issue, when all you have to do is look outside and realize that things that are happening around the world aren't just coincidence.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that satirical nature gets to people the best way, without it being too confronting. But also, I feel like Don't Look Up did take it to the point where they scream it in your face, like it is something you need to pay attention to.